Hello, good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. It is a wonderful, beautiful, glorious day here on the 12th day of June, year of our Lord 2025, as we're kind of approaching that midway point in the month of the halfway point of the year. So hope everyone is doing well out there. Hope that you guys are finding your footing in the year so far. Hope that we have figured that out at least. As we kind of approach the second half of it. And we're kind of approaching the second half of this week. It is Thursday, kind of a weird, busy week here on the streams. Done some Good Morning Nasdaq, some Wine Wednesdays. We had our all-day webinar on Tuesday. That was a great success and a great event there. So happy for all of you who were in attendance the other day. But here we are on another Thursday. How are we doing, Huddie?
Really good. Approaching that mid-year mark, and um, I had like a what? I had a rough time in April. I took a little spill. I couldn't make money for like 5 weeks in a row, and that was mentally tough. We made YouTube videos about that. So if you guys want to watch those YouTube videos, they're somewhere. If you
If
just
you
like,
like
subscribe,
pain,
that's fine. If you like pain and resolution, though, because I'm starting this off because my accounts are both of my accounts are officially at all-time highs again. By quite a nice margin. I no longer feel like I'm in that drawdown, and that feels good coming into the 6 month spree. Um, and Yeah, just kind of feel good about where my trading is. Just taking it easy and slow and not forcing trades, although I keep forcing trades. I'm trying not to force trades. And we'll see how that goes today. Very excited. There's not much. When I'm coming to the market today, I've not seen a lot of actionable trades. I do see probably one that I will take, maybe. I hope not. And if I cannot trade today, if I cannot trade for the next 2 days, this is the best week of the year for me. So that would be great. But of course, if there's a trade, I'm going to take it and I'm going to risk it because the week could get better or it could get worse.
so you have to
But
risk
hopefully,
it to get the biscuits.
but you can't force it. That's the thing. That's the thing.
We got Warren in here. Cottage, Thomas, Check, Micah, Wayne, Mazen, Jack, Chris. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Get going. Get lively over there in the live chat. Start talking to each other. Start bringing up some tickers, some questions. We are going to stop this right on the dot at 9:15 this morning. So we will rapid fire through the small cap gappers of the day. If you're new around here, that's what we talk about. Talk about the biggest movers in small cap land. Go over a little bit about why they're up, what's the catalyst, a little bit about the share structure and fundamentals of the company, as well as the daily chart, and see if there's any biases we can't form. Answer a few questions on any tickers you guys have for us, and then we get out of here. And Huddy's got a webinar with the 4-leaf clovers. Sorry, try not to burp. At 9:15, a little market open live trading webinar. A lot of live trading stuff this week, so that's got to be exciting for the students out there. So we'll get out of here. We'll get into that, and we'll get some YouTube videos up for you guys over the next few days as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. You're gonna want to make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I don't have an accurate number right now, but I don't think we're at 7,000 yet. So want to see you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, get that number up towards. We'll go 35 right now. Get it to 35, and we'll get started here. PDT Wizard says, will anyone be trading CHYM IPO today? I won't. I don't know anything about that. I don't know if Huddy will.
Which stock? Never heard of it.
New
Which stock?
IPO, CHYM.
No, for sure not. But that's not us. We don't trade IPOs.
It's not us.
Me and Dom don't.
I don't even know what it stands for. I'm just kidding. I actually do know that one, guys. Emilio says, Dom, are you annoyed that KLTO had the reversal in pre-market? No. I'm actually relieved that I don't have to trade it. What's the point of getting annoyed at stocks? There's just these inanimate objects that move green and red candles throughout the day. KLTO has had a decent move here so far off the 150s into the 2s. What time is it? 8:59. Still time for it to pull back and open in that 15 to 20% area and still have a bounce potential, but this is kind of the move I would have been looking for into the low 2s. Theo. So no, not annoyed. Not annoyed. If you trade reversals long enough, if you trade first red days long enough, there's a lot of patterns out there where you sit and you wait for a setup to develop and the play comes and goes without you, and that is part of the game. It is part of, it's just part of it. So nope, not too annoyed there. All right, biggest gapper of the day is a tiny little small little fragment of a stock that is making names for itself. 200% up on the day, Mr. HCTI, which is Healthcare Triangle for those of you who didn't know. It's a 369 million float. It is a health information services company. It is 2 cents a share. Just yesterday, I believe it was sub 1 penny. It's been a while since we are looking at these dubs and trip zeros. Back in OTC days, I remember those. I didn't know they really came in the form of listed stocks, but we have one here. And the news is that I don't see any. Do you see news, sir?
I haven't even looked into this since it's so cheap. I
Yeah.
just think it's a sympathy to NCNA.
So let's take a look at the chart here. And yeah, right on to maybe not get too addicted to talking about this one just as we I hope maybe that people aren't gap and crap and shorting this. I don't know, I guess, but 2 cents a share, that's got to be tough. It does look very similar to the NCNA daily chart. You kind of have this like, death drop, destruction gaps, then a bounce off of its lows, but there's just so much range here that, it can make some waves, multiple 100% moves and still not have it look that big on the chart. And CNA, just side note, would be kind of incredible to hold up and then break out at 20 cents, huh? That would be
I
like
would
your
love
summer
that.
cheapie, huh?
I would love that.
That would be wild. And so just take a look at that daily chart and then you take a look at HCTI. You can kind of see the similarities. Huddy, why don't you answer for us why that means you probably don't just blindly buy out of the gate this morning, but why it's just interesting to note.
Which one?
HCTI, just your reference to NCNA, just it's a sympathy, it's super cheap, it's in this low price area after a stock just went from like 3 cents to 20 cents.
I mean, I think the first problem with HCTI is that it's gapping up 200%. And so, like that probably, if this wasn't 2 cents, I'd want to short it. Like, I don't think this is going to hold its gains. I think this is already kind of having its move, and now you're chasing extension. And of course, like 2 cents can go to 4 quite easily. Like, it's probably like a degen's paradise because this thing can probably float up. But I don't really recognize this area as like the pattern anymore. Me personally, I think you're chasing the move and should probably be in, if anything, from the day before, selling into this gap up and reaping that, really nice 200% reward, and then just moving on to the next trade. Not really like overstaying your welcome in a 2 cent stock. I think that's a little dangerous. But I hope it goes higher. I hope it goes much higher. I hope we have like all of a sudden a bunch of cheap stocks that are breaking out and consolidating and stair stepping and re-breaking out, and we have maybe like a little sector of price range, but making sure that we're still trading patterns and not just randomly stabbing in because it's hot. Like that's a recipe for disaster. It's as easy as it can go to 4, it can also go to 2 pretty quickly.
Yeah, I would love a cheapie price range to get more. I feel like every summer we get some cheapies. I think about like TTOO. What was one from last year? There was JagX. I'm thinking there was a biotech last year. I'm forgetting that I really liked. But this is super cheap. This is entering that super cheap territory right now. Trying to push 3 cents right now, but nothing there for me. Agree with Huddy that it's just obviously a horrible daily chart, and there is massive volume already. Well, I guess we'd have to do some math, but over a billion already today. No interest in shorting it and no interest in being long on this day. It's hard to even see in the daily chart because everything's so low down here, but there is like a level at 1.7 that we're kind of breaking out over. But maybe I think Huddy probably would open up the door maybe to an afternoon type of swing approach if this thing is hot, holding up its gains, a bit view up in the afternoon. Maybe that would interest Huddy, but not in the morning.
Yeah, I guess it could go on a list for like a gapper towards the end of the day, but like for me personally, like gappers have to trade a shit ton of dollar volume. So even though it's like a billion shares right now, it's a 3 cent stock. So that's what 3% of a billion. It's like what 30. So it's got to trade like
What's your number of dollar volume that you like?
I like over 200 million. So it's really got to trade upwards of like
Three or
what 5
four,
billion.
3 or 4 billion.
Yeah. So it's got a lot of work to do. So it's something that like I would look at towards the end of the day and not feel any rush to get into. And then by the end of the day, if it's like holding its gains and it's trading 4 times the amount of volume that it's trading in the pre-market, which is kind of possible. I mean, this is just pre-market. We're already at a billion, but I doubt it. So that's the thing I like about strategies. Like if you have such rigorous criteria that like make it hard for you to want to trade the stocks, then you kind of uh, resolve that over trading like mentality because like I just can't trade it unless it fits certain criteria, and I don't know if it's going to do that until it does.
Yeah. All right. Well, that
Gotta
is
let
your
the stock
biggest
come to you.
gapper. Biggest gapper is a little cheapy, a little cheapy. NEHC is your next biggest gapper. New era helium, 6.04 million float oil and gas stock, with news 2 hours ago that they advanced hyperscaler discussions and prepares for board expansion to accelerate AI infrastructure strategy in the Permian Basin. They're making moves.
Okay.
1.5 months of cash left. Says offering ability is low. Looks like some SPAC warrants are not registered. What's an ATW convertible note? There's a lot of ATWs here.
I have no idea off the top of my head. I have to look into it in a sec.
All right. Okay, so low-ish float, 6 million. Cash need is quite high. Taking a look at the daily chart here. Let's go back a little further. See, so this is fresh stock. Top left to bottom right. Fader, infinite fader. The one day with good volume back here earlier this year was a decent gap up from the 2s to the 4s and proceeded to just go all the way back to down to where it came from. Didn't really spike at all. Big red candle. And here we are gapping up on much bigger volume right now, already at 72 million shares in the pre-market, which is pretty good for a dollar stock here. Whole dollar, half dollar, dollar area, I think is probably pretty key. We have been as high as the 140, so kind of like, do we bounce and continue this run off of a dollar, or do we kind of fail? And, who knows? We still got 23 minutes of the open. This could continue fading and not even be up that much at the open, but it's up 106% right now, right around a dollar. What do you say?
NEHC?
Mm-hmm.
Is this like a former China pump?
No, I think it's a D-SPAC.
I feel like I've traded this one before. I definitely have. History of a gap and crap here, at least once. It closed at what, 274, opened up at 418 and closed back red. That probably wasn't great. So it's been ugly in the past. That's the first thing I noticed from the daily chart. But let's look into the fundamentals real quick. The fundamentals, it's a natural gas company. And they're doing something with AI. They have 10 million in convertible notes. And they can be adjusted downward. I don't know about those ATW warrants. We're going to ignore those. Lockup insiders expired this month, so potentially a lot of shares that can be sold. Doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound like it's going to go up. I don't know for sure, but it doesn't sound like it's going up. It might go up, but it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, someone asked, is this the hat company New Era or whatever? No, this is not that. It's oil and gas stock. But yeah, under a dollar now, up around 100%. Kind of a fresh looking chart, but is in a big major fade. Just gets lower and lower every month. History of failure. So wouldn't be surprised to see this one struggle and give back the move, as it has a precedent of doing so. Let's see here. We got another gapper that's up 90%, which is another one. Another little guy. GNLN. Probably another one where we don't need to look too into.
Marijuana company.
Is that what it is? Yeah, I remember this guy. Green Lane
Yeah.
Holdings. Welcome. Says
Dude, these
tobacco.
aren't even going on my scanner. That's how cheap that is.
Up 93% right now. Float is 1,000 million. So really, really big. I don't know how to do that math right now. But huge. Another cheapie. Probably not worth diving into too much. I don't see any news today, so probably more to your cheapie theme right now. The stock actually does trade decent, not, I guess decent, but there are people trading it every day. And we got kind of a little breakout over 009 here into the ones, but kind of the same thing as the original HCTI that we talked about. You know, I probably won't go near this with a 10-foot pole. Probably rather wait for, even if these all held up, like in cheap stocks became hot like today or tomorrow, probably still wait for breakouts and still wait for, what's the word? Not conviction, but more proof, more evidence that these are going to withstand these big moves and hold on for some continuation. But you have anything to say about GNLN, a 1 cent stock up 90% today?
No, I mean, like I'm not one that really plays like the whole sympathy game thing. I'm just like more. I recognize that there's movement in these cheaper price ranges, so I'm gonna add them all to a watch list and wait for them to form structure before I really do want to do anything with them. I'm not the person that's just gonna start buying day ones because they're cheap and they're trading volume.
It's a
Maybe
dangerous
that's someone
game.
else's game and it works. It's just not for me.
It can be a fun game, but we feel like we don't see it as often as we used to back in like 2017, 18. Like I feel like we were always in the midst of some sort of hot sector, or one was always around the corner, and it was kind of like that. But all right, let's take a look at some of the questions real quick. Huddie, what factors have most contributed to you having such a great week? I'd like to know too, considering I hate these stocks.
It's really just been on the backbone of tickers that I've been able to kind of farm and make a lot of money from, and the rest of them have been kind of like break even trades or a little bit of profit. But predominantly, my week is designated by NVTS, that breakout. I oversized it. I got a lot of size in the 660s, risking 30 cents a share, and was able to sell it in the 820s. So that was like really good risk reward, and I was oversized, so it definitely made up for any kind of losses that I had taken this week and some. And then KLTO was one that I bought into close at 150 on the 9th, and I swung that, and it gapped up to 3. I made 100% on that move. So that was decent money. And then I shorted it on that day, and then I shorted it into close on that day, and then I covered it all into the next day. And that made me a lot of money. So between KLTO and NVTS, there's like $15,000. And then the rest of them have been like either lose 500 or make 1,000 to 2,000. And that like kind of just, that math works out. So making sure basically that my winners are much bigger than my losers, and that on the backbone of two tickers that I think were exceptional tickers this week in terms of like the volatility they presented. Not saying that they were easy to make that money, but they did present like a lot of range for someone to make money on. It's just like, were you convicted?
Yeah, sometimes it's in the quality of play, not necessarily the quantity every single week. And if you kind of, it's a mix, right, of having the right plan, being around the right stocks, and executing, right? And so a big mazel tov to Huddy for the week and for the good trades. Jenica says, Dom, are you watching Carm for a backside bounce? I am. Where is this one? Yeah, so I had that one in KLTO, or not KL. Yes, was it KLTO? Kelto on watch for reversals today. So open slightly red right now. We shall see. We shall see. I was just thinking about yesterday. We didn't talk about Huddy when you were talking about Carm, and you were telling me the data on like how much you can reasonably expect it to gap down. Like, what's the worst case scenario? And you're like, it should open in the 80s, 90s, even if it doesn't gap up or something. And then it was like horrible. And it was like down in the 70s. And it got even worse. Open like 35% red.
I said,
It's
I
a bad
said,
one.
I said we should try to buy it down 30 or 40% because it won't go much lower from there at open.
It just opened there, down 35, I think.
That's what I'm saying. Like the loss was small, the loss nonetheless, but way better than buying 110.
Yeah, no. Badoop be doo doo doo. Trade floor
No one
says
got
NEHC
four.
gap and crap. Franklin says 105 people watching, only 35 likes. I agree with your sadness, Franklin. Love to see a couple more, over 40 right now, which is pretty great. Not a ton of viewers this morning, 118, and 40 is a great number. Does XTIA qualify for a first red day?
XTIA?
Yeah.
No.
Why?
It's one day of run.
Is it? I see like 3.
Really? I haven't
Yes,
honestly looked at the chart.
3 big days. I mean, one big day on big volume. The other two are kind of small.
I mean, I guess be my guest. Have fun. I'm not gonna take it.
Yeah, it's kind of far off its highs. First red days to me have been so wishy-washy that I really want it to be clear and extended and not already way off its highs, like 740s, and we're in the 470s right now. And it is red. It's having its first red move right now, down 6%. But what's best case scenario? 354. I got to be quite perfect, and I'm not very perfect as a short seller. So I would say yes, it probably does qualify. It's over 100% move, multiple 100%. It is having its first red day. Just maybe not the quality that Huddie wants there. KZIA first red day potential question mark. I don't know about you, Huddie, but I don't qualify gap and croppers on day 2. Obviously there's a good chance these are red today. That's probably even like a doji day 1, I would guess, yesterday on KZIA. So I don't look at these as first red days because the run is just a gap. It didn't really run yesterday. It didn't really, it was just kind of a sideways mess after gapping up over 100%. So you'd have a lot of that'd be an interesting pattern. Write that down, Huddie, to look at these gappers on day 2.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal data, but it's just about what kind of entry can you get into day 2 without having to swing it and face, what Kyle faced with Mullen on buy-ins. Like, that's the risk that's not worth it. So it's like, how do we get an entry on day 2 that is relative to the previous close, which is like where I'd anchor the profit and loss from, and what do you risk? And I've got some things that I've been working on that have been quite nice, because the fact is, like, a lot of these will continue down lower. Like, they have a hard time holding their gains, even if day 1 is like sideways and weak, like KZIA right now, it's gapping down. Anyways, Dom, I gotta run a webinar.
All right, and I'm on your Zoom. All right, everybody, we will be live again tomorrow, 8:45 a.m. for another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq. Probably will be me and Kyle because we're gonna have to run it from Canada. So you might get off tomorrow, Huddie, or you can still join. We'll figure it out, unless you want to run it yourself. We know that you don't want to, but thank you guys for being here. You got the likes up to 58. We'll be live again tomorrow. I'm going to hope to turn my week around today. Huddie's going to hope to sustain his week, and I hope you guys are all on the right track as well. Be on the lookout for a going into Friday YouTube video coming out later tomorrow, I believe. And take a look at the channel. If you're new around here, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and we'll be live again tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday, and we'll see you in the next one.